Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Sarah Jones from Politicus Radio, coming to you live from the Democratic National Convention in the city of brotherly love. With me to talk about the contrast between the Democrats' convention and the Republicans' convention is Politicus USA's editor-in-chief, Jason Eastley.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for having me on.
Nice to have you here on this very hot day in Philly.
Oh my God, it is so hot.
It's pretty bad.
And it's hot here in the media tent.
Yeah.
It is hot. They didn't give the media air conditioning apparently.
No, they don't care about us. So this morning, I wanted to talk to you about this morning. Donald Trump threw yet another epic Twitter tantrum, seemingly enraged by the positive responses and happy star-studded lineup at Hillary Clinton's convention. First, he asked Russia to find Hillary Clinton's emails, and then he told a female reporter to be quiet. So, very presidential.
It was a typical day in Trump world, where someday Republicans are going to wake up and look at themselves and go, my God, we almost let that man into the White House.
Well, none of them are standing up right now. I mean that's not true. Too many of them are backing him, even with all of this talk about his basic connections with Putin and him giving Russia what they want and changing the Republican platform to do so.
Yeah, if you want, this is something I think you wanted to bring up. The contrast between conventions.
Yeah.
It's also a contrast between what the election is really about. Republicans want to make it all about Hillary Clinton, but I think you might agree with me that in all honesty, this election is about Donald Trump.
Well, I think it's about issues, and they want to make it about Hillary Clinton so they can fall back on character attacks, and they're doing it right now. Rumors, innuendo, things that have no evidence, making up lies about her emails, for example. It's all they have at this point. Whereas with Donald Trump, and again, I don't want to fall into this like it's about personality. It's about the fact that he knows nothing about policy. It's about the fact that he admitted today that he would not release his tax return, so we don't know about his connections with Russia. We don't know anything about where his money is going. We know he hasn't paid taxes in the past. So what we have here is someone who knows nothing, has a lot of bluster going on, and is completely the opposite of Hillary Clinton, who's this very studious, experienced person.
So we've gone from a vice presidential candidate who can see Russia from the back of her house or her porch, as she said, to a man who is literally backed by the Russian government for president.
Right.
Which I think sums up very well the devolution of the Republican Party.
Yeah, it's pretty frightening, actually, because not enough of them are speaking out. And he basically today, he told everyone, he told Russia to go hack into Hillary's emails and find those missing emails, which, by the way, the FBI said she didn't deliberately hide. And so I don't know why he thinks Russia is so fantastic and can do things that the FBI here can't do. That's also troubling to me. But I think that when people give this false equivalency where it's between these two personalities and the media does that a lot, of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, and then they say, well, they're both not liked, and yada yada. This is really unhelpful, because the person who's in the White House needs to be a serious person who understands the issues, can be a diplomat when they need to be, and let's face it, Putin is terrified of Hillary Clinton.
I think there's a big difference between not liked and 20 or 30 years of having your name being drugged through the mud or dragged through the mud.
Right.
The case may be.
Right. Drugged would be good too. We'll take whatever we can get at this point.
Yeah, I think it's a huge difference. I think the negative numbers for Clinton are in a large part derived from the 30 years of Republican tax.
Oh yeah.
I think she can't really say that because she's go, oh look, she's whining again.
Well, it will look like whining, exactly.
But that's
the fact. Yeah.
That's the truth. When it comes to Donald Trump, the man is just viscerally despised by so many Americans.
And he's going off about her emails when he has his own email scandal, by the way. And today he accused her, after she had a subpoena, she hid these emails. That's not what happened at all. But in fact, that is what he has been accused of in a lawsuit, that he was told to preserve all of his emails, and then later when they asked for them, these are all gone, they've all been deleted. So he does a lot of this kind of projection, and the danger of that isn't just that he isn't being honest, but it's that it sets up this false narrative. Once again, so everyone does it. That'll canard that gets me going, because everyone isn't doing it. Hillary Clinton did not deliberately hide her emails. It is not the same thing as what he has been accused of doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of Trump projecting whatever he does onto his opponent.
Right.
That's how he operates. That's how he behaves. I was wondering if we got planes flying.
I don't know if you guys can hear us. We have a helicopter overhead.
Helicopter?
Yeah.
We have some sort of air traffic above.
Yeah. It's very busy here. Can't hear anything.
The contrast between the two candidates and two conventions, I personally am really irritated by the way they've tried to take the Bernie protest and turn it into the same thing as the Republicans holding a rebellion on the floor of their convention.
Right.
Or Ted Cruz basically coming out there on stage at Donald Trump's Republican convention, giving him a big middle finger and walking away.
Right.
Whereas Bernie Sanders
So classy.
gave a great speech on Monday
Yeah.
and nominated her by acclamation on Tuesday.
Yeah. And the fact that some of his supporters, not all of them, some of his supporters are not able to make the transition as easily as the senator did doesn't mean that he didn't do it, and it doesn't mean the Democratic Party is fractured at all. In fact, what I've been seeing on the floor, especially yesterday after when Hillary Clinton was nominated, such joy. I mean, just people's faces breaking out in huge smiles, waving their signs everywhere. It was just a moment of pure, not even just a moment, it went on and on. The joy kind of like built up as every state delegate came up and said, like, here's the votes for this person and the vote for that person. And as that built up, there was the excitement that you could feel. And when you looked at the Republican convention, it was like people were snoozing unless they were super angry. And a few people that were, not a few, but the people who were really Donald Trump supporters were happy, but they were predominantly older, and so and not as enthusiastic. There wasn't I saw a few people dancing, but
the name of the game was rage at Trump's convention.
It was
rage.
Yeah.
And this convention does not have that tone.
No.
I mean, roughly, I mean, we've seen with our own eyes here in Philadelphia that there's not a big wave of Bernie people roaming the streets in massive protests. There were organized protests on Sunday. There were some protests on Monday morning. And what's left is what started yesterday was basically a band of a few hundred Bernie supporters. They're kind of roaming the streets and impromptu.
And the media tents.
Now they're storming the media tents
right.
already. Yeah. We weren't in ours yesterday when they laid siege to the press.
Yeah.
And actually really irritated the press.
Yeah.
The very people they need to reach out to.
That was a lost opportunity, I thought, on their part, didn't you? Because
they
could
need to reach out to these folks, but instead they just pissed them off.
If you're going to storm the media tent, have some talking points and be ready to tell the media why you're there, because the media loves an easy story, so be ready with that. And as much as people complain about the Bernie people, I do want to say that I'm a big, this is democracy. Democracy is kind of messy. It's great that people are so passionate about the person they support. I just hope that they realize eventually that the policies that Bernie Sanders supports are best protected with a Democrat in the White House. They are not protected by voting by voting for Donald Trump or not voting at all. I got it. Thank you.
Now, the thing about the Bernie folks is we've encountered a few of them around town. A few, I say metaphorically. They're not this what Fox News and the right and even cable news is pointing about to be. This isn't like a group of deranged far-left hippies roaming Philadelphia. These are just people who really care. They're nice people. They're good people. They really, really care and they really believe. And I think, honestly, deep down inside, they're really skeptical. And I think that skepticism predated Bernie Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
These are people that have had their doubts about the Democratic Party in general for a long time.
And fair enough, because people don't want the corporate influence that we see in government. And, of course, because it's in government, Democrats have it as well. But they don't have it to the degree. I don't want to do a false equivalency. They're certainly not the Republican Party. But it's fair enough to be angry about that. And it's correct to say this is wrong. It is wrong. And it needs to be fixed. But the overwhelming feeling, the predominant feeling here at this convention in Philadelphia with the Democrats is joy and unity. There's just a lot of, love trumps hate, and they're all waving those signs around, and it does give you a good feeling. Yesterday, the Clinton campaign released the video fighting.
Her new fight song.
Yeah, her new fight song, thank you. And that was produced by Elizabeth Banks and a couple of other folks with her from her production company. And they did such a fantastic job. If you haven't seen it yet, you really have to check that out, because it was so inspiring, and it showed you how everyone is coming together to support this woman, not just because she's the first woman president, and I can't stand it when people say that, just like I couldn't stand it when they said Obama's the first African American president, as if that defined him. What defines Obama is his temperament, his character, and his deep genius and his diplomacy. To me, that's what defines him, and his family values. And with Hillary Clinton, you have this, again, I say this all the time, but it's this studious person who takes her job very seriously, and she might not be the charmer that her husband, Bill Clinton, is, but that's okay. She is who she is, and, who would you rather have running the country? This clown on the Republican side who didn't even know who Tim Kaine was today in this press conference?
You got him mixed up with former New Jersey Governor Tom Keene.
The man knows nothing. I mean, I could put on my fingertip what he knows. He knows nothing. It's absolutely terrifying.
Let's talk about the tonal difference between the two cities, because we were in Cleveland right before the Republican convention. We weren't able to be allowed in the Republican convention, but we were over there.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why either. But we had to make a stop through Cleveland a while back, a few weeks before the convention, and what we saw in Cleveland was a city that was prepared for doom. They were not a happy city. I mean, compared to Philadelphia, from the minute we got into Philadelphia, this is a happy place. I mean, the people we interact with, they are not angry that their convention is in their city, or depressed, or thinking the worst. These are some people that are happy and very welcoming to everyone that's arrived. And the tonal difference, the stylistic difference, the visceral, emotional feeling of each place is different. And Cleveland's a great place. Cleveland's a great city.
Oh, Cleveland's a great city. No, they did everything they could, and I don't want to paint them unfairly, because that is a great city, and if you haven't been there, you should definitely put that on your list of places to go. It's just, I think it's about what the party stands for right now, what they're bringing to the city, because rightly so, Cleveland feared a lot of protests and a lot of ugly violence that seems to follow Donald Trump around. Luckily, that didn't happen. Of course, they had some police from all over the state were in Cleveland, and I'm glad nothing happened there. That's it's important to protest, because that's democracy, but we don't, violence is no good.
Yeah, Governor Kasich, the Cleveland politicians, the Ohio Republicans and Democrats in general, who helped keep this city secure, they really did a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same thing as the circus that the RNC allowed Donald Trump to put up for 4 days.
No, all we saw, if you guys didn't see, and if you were blessed enough to not watch the Republican convention, it was doom, gloom, and death. America sucks, basically, over and over. America's so horrible. And you know what struck me so hard last night, and this isn't funny at all? The mothers of the movement, the mothers of African American children who've been killed by police brutality, or gun violence, who came together and they spoke at the Democratic National Convention last night, and every one of them said something uplifting. Instead of doom, gloom, and blaming Donald Trump for the death of their children. And, who could blame somebody when they're grieving? But that's what we saw at the Republican Party, blaming people who weren't even in office when these things happened. These mothers were saying, we wish that we hope that you have the strength and peace that we have come to have. And they talked about how the police are mostly good people, majority good